Hello viewers, welcome to this episode with PyMath. In this episode, I'll begin a series with Python data structures. Now you can liken structures to containers that are used to keep items. You have different containers for different purposes. Now for this case with Python, we'll see how we can store data types in data structures. The first of it will be the list data structure. We'll see the syntax for this and how we can code this on the Jupyter Notebook environment. I'll do that shortly. Quickly, I want to ask that you can follow PyMath on Facebook. You can also follow PyMath on other channels. Just check out for this name and you'll see that on the other respective channels. And I'd like you also to share this video. Let those who would like to learn coding in Python have this video. You can share it across your space. I'll move on now to the Jupyter Notebook environment so we can demonstrate with code how we can define the list data structure and some of the methods we can have with this. I'll begin by defining a list. I'll show you the syntax. Let's say I create a list with the variable name my, I'll call it my underscore list. And I will assign the list to this, my list variable name. But the syntax is to use square brackets. So I use square brackets and the element of this list I'll call 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's say these are the elements of the list. If I want this list printed to the screen to be sure that this is what I have, first I'll call the print function. Print, I'll say my list is given below. My list is given below, okay? And then this becomes my underscore list. Now, if I print this to the screen by running this code, it will print to the screen what we just have. You can see that it has printed my list is given below. Now, if you want to know what type you have here, you want to know what type of data structure you're dealing with here, you can have by calling a function that will help us do that. We can say type. Let me call type my underscore list. Let me print this to the screen as well and see what we have. We didn't put that well, so let's put it closely. That's why we're seeing that error. Okay, so if you put on your type, you can see it returns that what we have is actually a list. You can see that it is displayed here, that what we are dealing with is list. Now, if you look at this list, there are elements of this list. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These are the elements of the list. How do we tell that these are the elements we have in this list? We can use a method here, which we call indexing. The indexing has to do with the position of the elements in the list. If I decide to say, and I say print, I could call print first element. I want to print out the elements of this list. If I say print first element, I have defined this list as my underscore list. So first element, I would call this first element with this code. So here you have, it becomes my underscore list. I will indicate the position of the first element in this list by using square brackets. In Python, when we index elements in the list, the first element in the list have index position 0. The second element in the list have index position 1. So you index list element in the list by n minus 1. So the first element, which is n1 minus 1. The second element, which is 2, 2 minus 1. The third element, which is 3, 3 minus 1, and so on. So that's the way you index, or you give the position of the element in that list. So the first element takes index position 0. Then I can say print. I'll call the second element. Now this second element, I'll still give this as my underscore list. That will take index position 1. All right. Then I'll again ask that it prints third element. So you have third element. Okay. So this would write as, this becomes my underscore list. My underscore list takes index position 2. All right. For the fourth element, you have print fourth element. Okay. Fourth element. Right. Okay. So this becomes my underscore list, takes index position 3. Okay. For the fourth element, index position 3. Remember, we have 5 elements in this list. Let's check again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you have 5 elements in that list. Okay. All right. Then the fifth element, you say print fifth element. Okay. The fifth element takes index position 4. So you have my underscore list, and this takes index position 4. Now, we want to print out the elements in this list, and we've written out the code. So let's see what we'll obtain here. So when I click on the run button, you can see it printed to the screen. First element in the list is 1, second element is 2, third element 3, fourth element, and fifth element is 5. The fifth element is 5. Now, there's another way of doing this. We can index from behind. Now, if you want to index this from behind, what you simply do is this. The last element in the list has index position -1. If you are indexing from behind, the second to the last is index position -2, and so on. So let's use the second way or method of doing this. I could come up again and say print first element. Okay. First element. So let's use this first element. Okay. Now I will take you back again so that you look at the index position. Let's go back to that list and check very well. Okay. Look at the list here. This is -1, -2, -3, -4, -5. All right. So let's use from behind and see. So this becomes my underscore list. Okay. Since we are taking the values from behind, this becomes -5. All right. Then we go print. We call this second element. So if I want to print the second element in the list, okay, I'll call this my underscore list, right? The second element will take index position -4, all right? Then if I say print third element, okay, so you have third element, all right? So we can take my underscore list. I'll take index position -3. Let's stop with this and ask that it prints out all of this using this other method that we have here. Now let's see what we have. Now you can see first element is 1, second element is 2, third element is 3. We used this other method, which means we go behind and index from the last, from behind, we can index it using negative numbers. And that's what you see. This is negative indexing. And the first one, you have it as positive indexing. So this is how you can actually index in a list. There are several other methods that we can do with lists. I hope to come in another episode to take us through this method so we can see several other methods we can work with when working with list data structures. I hope to see you in the next episode. Have a